Hi, Bulldogs. Here's our brief overview of the Columbian Exchange. We mentioned it in class a little bit, but this is just to make sure everyone has heard of it and knows what's going on here. So the Columbian Exchange obviously relates to Columbus, and the exchange is about what goes back and forth. Remember, you want to keep up with your reflections. We started them a few classes ago. You want to keep adding to them. So this topic relates to Standard 1, but definitely to Standard 2 as well. And the essential question, what are the motives of exploration? We've talked about motives a lot, but this is one of the effects. Maybe it's a motive as well, but it's one of the many effects of exploration. Anyway, let's get to all this stuff. So the term Columbian Exchange actually came about from an environmental historian. He went by the name of Alfred Crosby, and he wrote a book titled The Columbian Exchange in 1972. He was a professor. He's from Massachusetts, and actually he just died on April 5th of 2018. I wish someone told me about that because I feel like history teachers should have found that about. So he wrote about the exchange of basically living organisms that went from the old world to the new world for the first time, or for the new world to the old world for the first time, and how that really changed the earth and our society. Really famous history books like Guns, Germs, and Steel were really inspired by this type of historical thinking. Harvard University history professor Joyce Chaplin wrote about him upon his passing. The Crosby pointed out an older history, showing how plants and animals, especially disease microbes, had radically changed human lives before the modern era. So that's like modern being like the times we are now, not the post-Renaissance modern. But, we talk about how interconnected the world has been from the internet, but look at what happened with the Columbian Exchange. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Just as a review, a few students were asking me, like, what's the new world versus the old world? And I sort of went to the map and pointed it out. But just again, the old world is the world that was known at the time. Europe, Africa, and Asia. That part of the world did not really know about the Americas, which is the new world, and vice versa, right? So calling it old world or new world is from a Western perspective. So this exchange means food, plants, animals, or organisms like diseases came from that old world and went to the new world for the very first time, and then permanently sort of lived there. So what were some of those things? Grapes, coffee, horses, smallpox, rice. None of these things were in the Americas before the Columbian Exchange. We also have things that came from the Americas to the other parts of the world for the very first time. Things like corn, pumpkins, tomatoes, potatoes, turkeys, right? So as we mentioned in class, Italy did not know about tomatoes before Columbus. Ireland did not know about potatoes before Columbus. That was all new. So some things you wonder, was it brought over on purpose or by accident? Okay, the Europeans intentionally brought over cattle. Things like squirrels would just sort of hop on the boat in the New World and then came to the Old World, right? There's now, squirrels running around the parks in London. They did not live there before the Columbian Exchange. Neither did raccoons. Some things may sort of been accidental. Think of take that back. Squirrels were like accidental. Some things could have been on purpose or accidental. I'll give you an example. Dandelions were brought over on purpose from Columbus's voyages to the Americas. Their food was bland from exploring, when you keep food on boats for months. They didn't really find a lot of spices at first in the Americas, so they brought over dandelions to put in their salads. To this day, people will put dandelion leaves in salads, drink dandelion tea. But what happened when dandelions came to America? They took root, literally, and took over. Have you ever seen people's yards in the summertime when dandelions start growing and growing and growing some more? I mean, people spend so much money trying to get rid of these, and you can thank Columbus for all the dandelions that keep growing and growing and growing, and then the wind comes and they blow these seeds around, and they grow some more, and come some more. Say, thank you, Columbus. Thank you, Columbus. Thank you, Columbus. But you know what? She is not thanking Columbus. In fact, in 2015, Calgary up in Canada, they had a proposal to amend a budget for $1.7 million just to help get rid of all the dandelions in their parks and stuff. Columbian Exchange. Okay, I mentioned some things when I showed you the map. I just want to show you a few more things that came from Europe to the Americas for the very first time. Things like bananas, daisies, pigs, chickens, sugarcane, cabbages and lettuces, sheep. Right? There are many more things. You can easily Google a list of goods that went from what place to what place, and then more things from Americas to Europe. Cacao, which is now for chocolate. Other goods and foods. Poinsettias, you see them out now this time of year. They were native to like the Mexican region. Bell peppers, chili peppers, cotton, avocados, tobacco leaves, right? We could have done without discovering that, I suppose. But think about how you eat from both menus every day. You eat from foods from the old world, you eat foods from the new world. You eat some of them at the same time. You put chocolate on a banana, perhaps, right? Think of some of these fruits and vegetables you pair with your meats, right? People did not do this before 1492. And could we ever go back and separate it and go just one or the other? Not really. Like try having an old world or a new world diet and see how long you can make it, because we blend so much of all parts of the world now into our diets. So think about how this process has made the world smaller, right? We sort of share things that come from all over the place. People from all over the world eat very similar items, and it helped make us more interconnected. And interactions, they really come in many forms, whether positive, negative, neutral, and things like that. So we're going to talk more about the Columbian Exchange, how it's changed the way we live, the way we eat, how diseases shaped things, animals, right? Like I said, you can go and get greater lists if you want to of more things that came from what place to what place. If you have any questions, please ask. I know this was a quick overview, but the concept is easy. It's just sort of cool learning what came from where. So have a great class, a great evening, wherever you are while you're watching this, and I'll see you guys soon.